Hey guys, Xaryu here. I wanted to go over Frost Mage Legion beta talents. So we have first the level 15 talents. We have Ray of Frost, Lonely Winter, and Bone Chilling. By the way, these are just the talents that I've been using on Legion beta and PvP so far, so these might not be like the best ones, but these are the ones that I'm using, and I can do some pretty crazy one-shots, so recommend trying it for yourself as well. Bone Chilling is the spell that the talent that I chose. It's a passive. Whenever you attempt to chill a target, you gain Bone Chilling, increasing all frost damage you deal by 0.5% for 6 seconds, and it stacks up to 12 times. So, I know what you're thinking, 0.5%, like, come on, Xaryu, that's like almost nothing. Yeah, it's almost nothing, it's not very good, but it's not bad, and it helps you do a little bit more damage. And the reason why I'm taking this is because two other things I'll show you in a sec. So, Ray of Frost sucks, doesn't do much damage, and it's a 1-minute cooldown channel. It just not very good. Maybe in PvE this will have an application, something like that, but in PvP you're never going to be able to get a channel off, and even if you do, it would have to like kill someone, and it doesn't. So yeah, pretty much just the channel isn't strong enough. So you don't take Ray of Frost, and by another process of elimination, you also don't want to take Lonely Winter because of you want your pet to have that pet nova. And the reason you want the pet nova is because you can get huge shatters and do some crazy insane one-shots, like I've been doing on my stream and in these videos. So yeah, you don't want to go Lonely Winter because you want the pet. You don't want Ray of Frost because it's not very good. So you go with Bone Chilling. Not a great talent, but it actually is just process of elimination better than the other two. So that's why I chose Bone Chilling. So on the level 30 talents here we have Shimmer, Cauterize, and Cold Snap. Cold Snap's a passive now, so you don't actually have to do it. Your Ice Block just has 2 charges, and it also, in the Cold Snap talent, it makes it so Ice Block heals you. This is a little different than the Cold Snap on live servers. Cauterize is also similar to live servers, but it also gives you a blazing speed effect. Yeah. So it just, when you die, it brings you back up to 35% life, but then you burn, and you end up burning that damage back slowly. And then Shimmer gives you 2 blinks. The problem with these blinks is that when you're stunned, you can't blink out of stuns. So normal blink down here teleports you 20 yards or until reaching an obstacle and frees you from all stuns and bonds. Shimmer doesn't read, frees you from stuns and bonds, so that means when you get stunned or something, you have no way out. So Shimmer is probably really, really good in some situations when you're fighting a team without a stun. So it's probably really, really good in maybe some duel situations, some world PvP situations, or some situations in a 3v3 match where the enemy team isn't playing with stuns. Shimmer's probably great. But Cold Snap's probably better in a lot of situations where you're fighting players with stuns and you would like to blink out of them. So this next row, 45 talent tree, I'm choosing Incanter's Flow. This is what we know it is on live servers. You get a damage buff that cycles between 420%, and it just goes, it increases and decreases back and down every 10 seconds. Pretty cool. You just get some bonus damage. Hero Rune of Power is 50% damage, so that's actually an amazing amount of damage right there. 50% increased damage, but it's a 1.24 second cast, 45 second recharge, and how often in PvP do you get to just stand still and turret? Almost never. So in PvE, once again, this is probably great, but in PvP, it's just not going to happen because you can't stand still for that long. Mirror Images, I actually haven't played with them, so the damage might be pretty crazy, but from what I've seen, the increased damage just on a huge burst on like your icicles for Glacial Spike, or huge Frostbolt Ice Lance combo, something like that, is just better. Having a 20% increase on your huge burst, or having a couple mirrors every 2 minutes. The Incanter's Flow seem better, but Mirror Image might be, you could maybe take it in some situations as well. Ice Nova. So this is the one where I initially picked Frozen Touch, because Ice Nova doesn't do, it actually does less damage than an Ice Lance. So I was like, oh, 25 second cooldown, or versus a 30 second cooldown. Frozen Touch gives you 2 Fingers of Frost, so 2 Ice Lances, which both do more than the Ice Nova. Might as well, have 2 charges of something that does more damage, right? Seems pretty self-explanatory. But Ice Nova, I didn't account for, also freezes them. And with that freeze, what you can do is cast a Frostbolt, and then while your Frostbolt's in the air, you can Ice Nova them. And then with this talent over here, I haven't shown you guys all these yet, you can deep shatter them. Your Frostbolt deals 300% additional damage to frozen targets. So what you do is you Frostbolt, you Ice Nova, while your Frostbolt's traveling in the air. The Frostbolt will hit the Ice Nova, aka the frozen target, and do huge damage. So it's basically another Pet Nova, kind of. And that makes it better than Frozen Touch so far, in my opinion, based on, testing it. Splitting Ice is your last talent here. And this just splits your Ice Lance and your Icicles, kind of like the Glyph does on live servers, but I'm not playing with it because I don't want it to break CC, and yeah. It's probably really good maybe in a rated battleground situation or any type of like PvE situation where you're trying to do as much damage as possible, or even maybe you could take it in like BGs. But if you're trying to do coordinated, precise, calculated kills like a lot of 3v3 matches are, or even a duel where AoE damage doesn't matter, I would go with Ice Nova for sure. It increases your burst by an insane amount. 75 talent tree here. We have Ice Flows, Ring of Frost, and Ice Ward. Looking at Ice Ward first, Frost Nova has 2 charges. Doesn't really help you out much because you already have a Pet Nova and a normal Nova. So if you had 2 normal Novas, you would just DR your own Nova too much, and it would just become immune. You would basically your Nova would become immune before it did anything beneficial. So that's too many Novas. You don't want it. It's just going to DR itself. Ring of Frost, standard Ring of Frost here, 45-second cooldown, 1.65-second cast. Shares DR with Polymorph, of course, and summons a ring for 10 seconds. Choosing the Ring of Frost because it's just really good CC. Ice Flows, 3 charges, 20-second recharge. You can cast 1 spell while moving, and you have 3 charges of that. So this is another. So if I had to pick a second talent instead of Ring of Frost, I would maybe try out Ice Flows because maybe helps you get Sheeps now that we don't have Deep Freeze. It might help you get those Frost Bolts off now that we have to cast a lot. So Ice Flows is a consideration. I haven't given it too much of a try yet, but going with the Ring for now just for that insane CC. Frostbomb, Unstable Magic versus Arctic Gale. Arctic Gale, first of all, Blizzard damage. Come on, terrible. Increases Blizzard's damage by 30% and its area of effect by 20%. Just not very good. Period. Maybe in PvE, not in PvP. Unstable Magic, I was initially not very excited about this, but your Frostbolt has a 20% chance to explode on impact, dealing 50% additional damage to the target and all other enemies within 8 yards. So, yeah, I know what you're thinking. It's going to break CC. Why are you taking a talent that does AoE? That's what I thought first too, but the reason I'm taking it is because it makes your Icicles larger, which then makes your Glacial Spikes larger. And I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, basically, taking the Unstable Magic for bigger Icicles. Frostbomb here is what I initially thought I was going to take, but after playing a little bit more, you just don't have the time to cast Frostbombs because you're constantly casting Frostbolts, Ebon Bolts, Glacial Spikes. You just don't have time to cast another Frostbomb to do a little bit more damage that's also AoE, so it would break CC anyway. So you go with Unstable Magic here. To get bigger Icicles. Thermal Void, that's what we know it is on live. Casting Ice Lance extends your Icy Veins by 2 seconds. Glacial Spike, that's what I went with. Initially I thought this would be not the greatest either, but basically it makes it so your Ice Lance doesn't release Icicles. Icicles stay above your head until you cast this spell or until you get 5, and then once you're full on Icicles, then one of them will launch automatically. Glacial Spike puts all the Icicles together and then also does 150k damage on top of that, not accounting for modifiers, and just one-shots someone. Also freezes them after that on its own DR. So, I think it's on its own DR. So yeah, basically just a huge nuke, all your Icicles together, and more damage. But you lose your passive Icicles, your Ice Lance launching those Icicles. So it's trading off consistent pressure for a huge burst, which I think is a great trade-off. And then there's Comet Storm, which we know it as on live. 30-second cooldown, calls down 7 comets for damage. So yeah. Those are the talents. Those are the ones I chose. These are the ones I've been playing with so far. I'm not saying it's the best, it's just what I've liked a lot. Actually, I've been having a ton of fun with it on the Legion beta.